The 22-year-old has started both games for the Dominicans, but has failed to really have any impact. So game one against the Philippines, the host nation, he played 15 minutes and 50 seconds. Just 2 points on 2 for 4 from the free throw line. Did not make any of his 4 field goal attempts, 3 of which came from beyond the arc. He had 3 rebounds and a steal in the 87-81 victory. His defense was a little bit better than his offense, but that wasn't hard to do. His offense really didn't come in the same way as we saw in Summer League, obviously, with the Warriors throughout that campaign in Las Vegas. And of course with the Warriors in their G League program with Santa Cruz last season as well, where he was the G League's most improved player. Thought we might be able to see something a little bit better again last night for me, early hours for those of you in America, taking on Italy. They got the win again, the Dominicans, in that one, winning the game 87-82. But it was even worse for Lester Quinones, unfortunately. A 22-year-old guard had 2 points, 2 for 2 from the free throw line, was 0 for 3 from the field, 0 for 2 from three-point range. But the real talking point in this one was the fact that he played 7 minutes and 47 seconds in the opening period. Again, started the game like he did in game one against the Philippines, and then played a grand total of 19 seconds for the remaining 3 quarters. And some of that included the late period of the game where he did make those 2 clutch free throws with, I think, 17 seconds remaining to help seal the win for the Dominican Republic. But still, clearly, he drew the ire of head coach Nestor Garcia there in the opening period and was benched, basically, for all but 19 seconds in the opening 3 quarters. So a disappointing start for Lester Quinones. It's always interesting to me to watch NBA players, I guess, go and play for their national team in these environments. Some really thrive off it. I know, for me, being an Australian, Patty Mills goes from a genuine role player with NBA teams to a genuine star in tournaments like these with increased usage, increased shooting volume and stuff with Australia. So there's that kind of the equation. But there's also other players, and particularly young players who are in a situation like Lester Quinones is in. And I have a little bit of sympathy for him here because he's not like he's an NBA player. He's on a 2-way contract, but he's only, I think, played 4 times on an NBA floor. He's yet to establish himself in the league. He's yet to make a main roster in the league. And so for him, you really have to question if there isn't the internal motivation to play for his country, which I'm sure there is, but there's different value to that depending on who you are and where you are in your career. And for him, his career is going to be about, hopefully for him, playing a 10, 12 plus year career in the NBA, making millions and millions of dollars. And for him at this point, why would you go out and really put your body on the line, risk potential injury, when that, of course, would risk your career in the NBA, risk millions of dollars and your whole future going forward? So it is a tough one for me. Like, we obviously saw Josh Hart with Team USA. He was up for a contract extension with the New York Knicks this offseason, and he, in some of the warm-up games for Team USA, he didn't actually partake. He didn't enter the game until I think it was after the first couple of warm-up games where it was actually official that he signed that extension with the Knicks. So that was obviously a financial thing where Josh Hart didn't want to get injured and potentially ruin his contract extension with the Knicks. And I think that's a part of this for every player, but particularly those young players in the NBA who stand to make millions and millions of dollars, but are yet to secure that kind of contract. It's just how much value and how much you're willing to put your body on the line in tournaments like these are a real question mark. And I'm sure there are other players that are playing for the Dominican Republic who know that they're probably never going to make the NBA. That's just probably the reality of where they're at in their career. And therefore, they're more willing to put their body on the line for their country and try as hard as they can, really, because the risks aren't necessarily there like there is for Lester Quinones. So it's really interesting for me, the kind of dynamic at play with young players and going to play for their national teams. You know, you look at someone like Karl-Anthony Towns, who's playing for the Dominican Republic. He's got his money. He's got his bag, right? He's going to make hundreds of millions of dollars across the course of his career. And so, he's out here dominating for the Dominican Republic, and there's no surprise about that. He's one of the best players in the world for starters, and the fact that he can have a fair crack without the risk of losing out on millions of dollars moving forward. So I think, as much as we as fans would like to think, oh no, they should be playing for their country, they should be, really putting their body on the line, competing as hard as they can, and that should be enough of a motivation for them. At the end of the day, this is a player's job, this is their career, and they want to be trying to make as much money as they can to set themselves up for the future. And of course, when you're talking about this kind of money, you're talking about generational wealth and setting up their family, not only now, but for generations to come. So I do think it's an interesting element at play, that is for sure. But hopefully that Lester Quinones can get back to some form here. Obviously, the Dominicans winning their first 2 games. They're through to the knockout stage now. So their last group game against Angola on Tuesday is going to be basically a dead rubber for them. And hopefully that provides Leicester with the kind of pressure-free opportunity where he can go out and just show his skills, because we know what he did in Summer League, where he averaged 21.2 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 5.2 assists across those 5 games in Las Vegas. Clearly showed that he's above the level of NBA Summer League, and I think he should be one of the better players at this tournament as well, at the FIBA World Cup. And hopefully we get to see that against Angola on Tuesday.